Hey everybody, this is Dr. Josh Hasty at Inspire Chiropractic. And go ahead, Tony, who are you?
Dr. Anthony Pellegrino at Absolute Chiropractic in the People's Republic of New Jersey. What's up today, Dr. Josh?
Man, I'm just feeling great. Got a lot of people I'm going to be helping. Got a full doctor's report tonight, getting people started with their care. Already had my networking meeting with a bunch of business people this morning, and I'm just fired up to bring you guys some great information that hopefully changes your life. Maybe it doesn't, but at least it's good information and you need to do something with it.
That's awesome, man. I love that. We're in the same boat. We've got a full doctor's report, a new patient orientation tonight. We're really excited about it. We had two huge events we worked at over the weekend. We had a booth over at in a town out by us, Dr. Josh, called Point Pleasant, Festival of the Sea. Oh, it was amazing. It was like there was literally thousands of people there all day. And then on Sunday, we were at San Gennaro Festival. Now, I know you guys down in Georgia don't have as many of these Italian folks as us, but this is a pretty big deal. This is our St. Patrick's Day up here, Dr. Josh, San Gennaro Festival. And it was awesome. We got lots of people coming into the office who just kind of saw the technology that we brought out and are looking for answers. And we are more than thrilled to be able to provide here, Dr. Josh.
Could you say the name of that festival again?
I really don't say it like that. I'm just saying San Gennaro, Dr. Josh. San Gennaro.
That's the only thing that matters right now. All right. So, man, I'm fired up. I want to get straight to the point. Listen, guys, there are a lot of options out there in the world when it comes to your health. And there's this terminology that we all need to be familiar with called CAM, and that's complementary alternative medicine. And what we wanted to talk to you a little bit about today is why so many people in America are making the decision to follow CAM, complementary alternative medicine, and what are some of the things that you need to know specifically about chiropractic. So there's this awesome research. Again, we're going to post a link for it. We could probably make that happen while we're talking, but we're definitely going to post it as soon as we wrap up. There are 10 million people in America that are every year choosing to follow what complementary alternative medicine has to say instead of the older, more traditional style of just listening out for drugs and shots and surgeries on a first line of defense.
We'll say in addition to
drug shots and surgeries. Not that those don't have their place. And if you're curious how we stand on that, go ahead and watch our last week's video. But this is pretty awesome. And so, Tony, because I know that you're going to be able to rattle this off a lot faster than I can, why don't you give a little bit of a breakdown on what they can expect from this research?
Yeah, absolutely. So the National Health Interview Survey was sent out. Specifically, what this research we were looking at was publishing on what types of care that parents of children with they go into calling it mental health issues, mental health concerns. Okay, what do they choose to do? Because the thing is that I believe, and some of the parents that we speak to on a daily basis just are really tired of putting a Band-Aid on an issue, right? They're tired of seeing their kids just simply be just medicated away, right? And it's like, okay, well, maybe we see a change, but they don't, my kid's not there. Like the personality isn't there any longer. And they're seeking additional things that they can do that might just help. This survey found that over 10 million parents, over 10 million families seek CAM, or complementary and alternative medicine, to aid in the care of their children struggling with mental health challenges. Now, that can encompass a variety of different things, from massage to acupuncture to supplements to chiropractic. Now, I can't speak for you really, although I can, experts in one of those things, right? One of those things which is chiropractic, and specifically neurologically based chiropractic care. And we have many parents who choose to include neurologically based chiropractic care in the care of their children, whether they are struggling with these mental health issues or not, right? Just simply because the approach here is creating an environment for health versus just simply doing something to treat a symptom or disease. Does that kind of make sense there, Dr. Josh?
I'm following you. I know exactly what you're talking about, because the last thing anybody really wants to do anymore is just continue to treat symptoms when it's becoming really apparent that's not a winning formula. We actually need to be taking and finding the root cause. And so, you briefly mentioned, and I actually, before we got started today, I made sure I pulled up a picture on the internet of not a picture, but a site on the internet for what are the top 10 most common CAM therapies. And so you can do a quick Google search, but starting out, it's natural products. So, people want to find more alternative, cleaner ways to live. And so natural products is part of the complementary alternative medicine. But then after that, you get into more like chiropractic. There's meditation, there's deep breathing and massage and yoga, diet. There's naturopathic remedies. And so these are some of the top 10 of what we're talking about. And chiropractic it's leading the way. Not the most commonly used. I do believe the most commonly used is going to be supplements, because everybody really agrees that, well, the food that you eat has practically no nutritional value. And still a lot of people have no idea that chiropractic can serve them to just be healthy and stay healthy instead of always reacting. But we're working on that. That's why we bring this show to you. But, one of the most incredible things that I thought that this research really pointed out as we were going over how to present this today, but it's that medicine and research are continuously changing, and the way we treat conditions should be changing with it. And so if we're still stuck in a model where, you're treating the same problem with the same technique 50 years ago, but, we have 50 more years of research and science, then why are we not paying attention to this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And kind of to add to that, when you mentioned, and this is really funny. So my wife makes the joke in my office that she says these glasses that I put on my face they're earned, not given. In that I'm really nerdy, Josh. It's a problem. It's a big problem. And one of the things that I love to do every Monday, you might not know this, is every Monday I go on PubMed, which is the archive of all medical research in the world, PubMed. And I just search a couple things. I search nervous system. I search chiropractic, so I want to see what people are saying. And I search cervical for the cervical spine. And would you believe that the very same things that we as chiropractors have been talking about with the science when it comes to mental health conditions, for example, are actually being embraced and published by the pharmaceutical industry. Would you like some examples here, Dr. Josh?
Oh, I'd love them.
Oh, I'm so glad you would.
Give me your best examples.
One of the things that has really been mind-blowing to me recently is the incorporation of what's called vagal nerve stimulators. Have you heard of these things?
I've heard of them, but you may need to explain what it is.
Okay.
Because, maybe one person out there doesn't know.
Maybe one person. So the vagus nerve in Latin, which means wanderer, because it exits right up here in our skull and goes all the way down, goes all over the entire body, which controls everything from our digestive system to it slows down our heart rate. It does all these different things. It's called the vagus nerve. What they found is that children and families and individuals who have these mental health issues and concerns, and I keep saying mental health issues because that's the words that are used in the research. So like, I'm not trying to be offensive or anything like that. Like, I understand, we get it, trust me. but like I'm just using the words that they use. They found that these deficiencies in what's called vagal tone, right? Let's put it as simply as possible, is that your body at any given moment can be in one of two states. Fight or flight, okay, which is sympathetic tone, if you're like science, or rest and digest and heal, which is the parasympathetic vagal tone, if you, once again, like science. It can only be in one of those two things. So, good example, Dr. Josh. Tiger enters your office right now. It growls at you. It roars at you, right? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen in your body? What's gonna happen in your heart rate?
It's gonna skyrocket. This is called fight or flight syndrome.
What's gonna happen to your blood pressure?
Skyrocket.
Now, is your blood pressure skyrocketing at that moment? Is it a problem, Dr. Josh, or is it part of the body's?
It's a life-saving mechanism at that time.
As a matter of fact, Dr. Josh, if somebody came and there was a tiger growling at you in your office, right? And it smelled your flesh and you could tell it was going to eat you. And somebody took your blood pressure and they found out you were 120/80. Do you think that would be a problem?
That's a problem. So then the alternative of that, because I know where you're going with it.
Yeah. So that's all good. But when the tiger leaves there, Dr. Josh, what should happen to our heart rate?
It should go back to normal. It should go back down.
Yeah. What should happen to our blood pressure?
It's supposed to go down.
Yeah. And this is just like one example here, but there's tons of physiological things that happen in this process. And the thing is that this is what's called a stress response, right? Where our body is responding to stress. And the stress just happens to be the fact that we have to run or fight for our life. One of those two things. What we've found in children and families and individuals is that there's been, because of just chronic stress, because of things like subluxation interfering with the proper function of the nervous system, because this is all controlled by the nervous system, is that individuals aren't allowed to go. Their body won't go to that rest and digest and heal state, Dr. Josh. Yep. They stay in this fight or flight for years and for years and for years and for years. And notice how the opposite of fight or flight is rest and digest and heal. Do you think that those three things are things that we probably need to do like on a daily basis? Yeah, I agree with you there, Dr. Josh.
Sorry, I was just reading the comment and then you asked me a question at the same time. So Tony, I am paying attention to you, paying attention to two things at the same time. The point is that when we stay in these chronic altered states for weeks, that turn into months, that turn into years, that turn into, well, that's just the way I am. And then you wake up one day and you wonder why your body starts to fail and you have symptoms that you're being prescribed drugs, medications for, and, well, I don't know why you have it. It must be genetic is sort of the common answer, or everybody has it. So of course you have it. This is just a sorry excuse when we can discover and when we can understand exactly where these problems come from. Our vagal tone has everything to do with whether or not we're going to be able to rest and digest, which is the way the body should spend the majority of its time.
The majority, not even some, the majority.
The majority, yeah. That's what I said.
I know, I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, or rested fight or flight, which is only really for special occasions of extreme reaction. Like you have to become heightened. And, when your boss walks into the office and maybe asks you to do some work, or maybe your coworker that stresses you out a little bit, and then you got a speeding ticket on the way home, and then you're watching a show at night that keeps you revved up, and then you spend 45 minutes staring into your phone before you go to sleep, and somehow we're like jealous of what everybody else is doing, and our whole body is like responding chemically to these problems, and then you wake up and you feel exhausted, and you drink 5 cups of coffee every morning just to get your body going again. And then we repeat this cycle for years, and you never think that chiropractic has anything to do with your nervous system or your overall health and wellness. It's mind-boggling to me, especially when we can find all the research that we need, a lot of it written by chiropractic, a lot of it written by pharmaceutical companies studying what we're already talking about anyways. And that's why we have to bring it to you guys at this show. We need to give this a name. What are we going to call this one?
I've been calling it Live with Dr. Josh and Dr. Anthony. I listed you first so that you feel extra special. Plus, you're bigger than me, so.
Well, thank you.
That's true. You see that beard, ladies and gentlemen? That is kind of kind of what I'm going for here. Instead, I just get this little bit right here. You just hit it, man. We're constantly bombarded by stresses. And stresses aren't in themselves a bad thing, right? They allow us to grow. If you met somebody who's never hit any adversity in their entire life, they're probably really boring, right? They probably have not grown that much. They're definitely not going to be a stand-up comedian, right? They're definitely not. They're hitting adversity in your life because that's necessary to allow our body to grow. But it grows when we can get to this rest and digest and heal state. It does. So when we look at mental health, if anybody ever mentions to you something like a vagal nerve stimulator, say, hey, I should probably get checked to make sure that my nervous system is functioning at its optimal potential, to make sure that my sympathetic, my parasympathetic, my fight or flight, my rest and digest and heal, my vagal tone is properly functioning. And if it's not, I should probably get that corrected utilizing conservative methods first, like neurologically based chiropractic care, specifically looking at where those interferences or irritations are. Because as we mentioned last week in our episode of Live with Dr. Josh and Dr. Anthony, the options for drugs and surgery will always be there. They are necessary. They're absolutely necessary. Saved your life last year. So absolutely necessary. But they should be a last resort and not a first option. I believe that. If you're watching this, I hope that you believe that, because that's kind of all we're going to talk about. And if you don't believe that, message us privately, I guess. We could talk about it.
Yeah.
But that for us is what it is all about. Even if no one has mentioned that to you, I truly believe as though because all of growth and development is controlled by the nervous system, regardless of a clinical diagnosis, regardless of a label of something being put on us, I believe as though the future trajectory of our health will just simply be improved by allowing our body to be in the best state possible through things like chiropractic. I still recommend getting checked, but hey, especially when there is that extra diagnosis, I would recommend it extra.
And you've just nailed it. I'm fired up to serve some people today.
Yeah.
What I want to do is I just want to end with a couple last thoughts. You know, whether you think that you know what chiropractic is, or maybe you've seen chiropractic on and off, if you haven't been checked by a neurologically based chiropractor, which simply means that we care how your nerves are functioning, regardless of pain and existing symptoms, you really owe it to yourself to find out what this is all about. If you're not convenient to my office or to Tony's office, hit us up. We'll try our best to send you to somebody that we would send our family to. If you are, give us a call, private message us. We will do our best to help you out, because there's a lot of problems out there. And I see people on a daily basis that they often tell me that they wish that they had heard this before, instead of spending so much time, energy, and money trying to find out for themselves, and then only to wind up in a chiropractor's office as a last resort or on a recommendation to find out that this is what they were looking for the whole time. And that's where our heart is. That's why we bring this to you. And so I'm finished up, man. I'm super happy. I'm going to finish this coffee, and I'm going to get to this day serving my team. We got a whole bunch of team training that we're going to do this afternoon, and tons of people this afternoon once we open up the office. And, you know, I really appreciate it. Tony, what do you want to wrap this up with?
It's been great hanging out with you here, Dr. Josh. Per usual, I'm sure we'll chat soon. Absolutely. I'm just going to leave it with what you left it with. That's exactly the message that we want to get across here. We're here to serve. We're here to help. Our friend, Dr. Dan McClyman from out there in Royersford, Pennsylvania, he posted a video of him talking to a group of people, and he had something that just I think is awesome. He's like, you know, when we're 40 years old, we haven't taken care of our teeth our entire life, and all of our teeth fall out. You know, our approach isn't to say, oh, here's a toothbrush. You know, So when it comes to this stuff, our goal is to, like I said, create the environment of health so that we think about it before we have to.
I love it.
Hey, man. Appreciate you, Bus. I will catch you next week.
Yes, you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye, guys.